All right, coming up, one of your former students, Kenny Florian, he's taking on Diego Nunes. Do you have any thoughts on that fight?
You know, Kenny's going down to 145. That's a change for him. He's made the adjustment all the way from 100 and I think Kenny's fought in the Ultimate Fighter TV show season 1. I think he fought even all the way up to 185 pounds. And then for the main event and for the finale, he fought Diego Sanchez at 170 pounds. Then he fought a good friend of mine and great fighter, Sean Shirk, for the reemergence of the 155-pound title, and now he's going down to 55. So will Kenny have any trouble making the weight? Doubt it. I think he's going to perform well no matter where he goes. He's a hard worker. He's very talented, very well-rounded. He's surrounded by people that push him, and again, you know, he's going to be a force at 145 as well.
Right, now another guy that you're training right now, Frank Mir, he's getting ready to take on Roy Nelson. It's a strange fight. I mean, where do you see Frank Mir right now in the rankings for the heavyweight division? You
know, I think Frank is still at the top. You know, he's had some ups and downs in his career, but you know, he continuously is getting better. He's constantly in the gym. He really doesn't have an off season. You know, this is what he does. You know, this is what Frank Mir does. He's in the fight game. He doesn't sell cars during the day. You know, he's in the gym every day. There's very little downtime for him. I still truly believe that he could very well be champ again sometime soon. You know, he's right up there with all the top fighters in the weight division, even though it's stacked up. You know, if you look at Frank Mir's resume, you'll see that he's been in there with the best and oftentimes beat the best. So, you know, just because he lost that belt and had a bad fight with Brock and didn't come out his way, he's shown recently off his last couple fights that that he's still a very dangerous threat, a huge threat to anybody in the heavyweight division.
Nelson's got some really great skills all over the place, and of course he has that very unique physique. So what's right now, without giving away too much of a strategy, what's going to be the game plan to take on a guy like that? You
know, they're both well-rounded. You know, big country, again, you know, don't be fooled by his looks. You know, even though he has it his way and he's always at Burger King, you know, he's not the most ripped up, sexiest looking fighter, so to say. But he gets the job done. You know, he's very dangerous. He boxes well. He has tremendous cardio. And again, you know, you never know by looking at him, but looks can be very deceiving, especially in the fight game. You know, it's not always the biggest, baddest, strongest guy that wins. It's the most experienced, most technical, and the best strategy and the best game plan coming into a fight. So we prepare Frank to take this fight anywhere. We think that it's going to be up and down. It's going to be a knockdown, drag him out type of fight. That's the type of fight we want to give the fans, and that's the type of fight we're preparing for right now in camp.
Right, now I want to ask you about one of your other former students, Jorge Rivera. He just fought Michael Bisping back at UFC 127. Sure trash talk leading into that. End of the fight, Bisping started doing, well, you guys know what we're talking about already. So I want to ask you your opinion on what you thought of Bisping's actions and what you think about what Dana White has decided to do about Bisping.
I think that emotions run wild, especially, you know, it's one thing, you know, to get a couple baseball players on the field and to, you know, to kind of trash talk a little bit back and forth, and a lot of NBA players talk to each other during the games on the court, and obviously it's relevant and it's present in all sports, but it's unique to the fight game because you really have to back that up. You know, you really, as much trash talking as you're doing, you need to be throwing as many punches as digs that you threw, and that's not common for Jorge to build up a fight, to trash talk. I found it a little strange that he tried that approach.
It was him or maybe his sponsors more so they're kind of pushing that, because I know I got a lot of Twitter things from Ranger Up saying, you know, hey, check out this video. Do you think it was actually George or maybe it was his sponsors pushing that?
You know, George is a grown man. He's responsible for his own actions. So if he was responsible for trash talking and his sponsors or his management team wants to take blame for that, then I guess you could do that. But at the end of the day, George said the things that he said, and it offended Bisping, and Bisping took that to heart. And it actually, in my opinion, fueled Bisping and actually made him more dangerous. And I think it backfired on George. And I think now that what's happening is they're trying to kind of, you know, his camp and his management team are trying to divert the embarrassment of the loss to Bisping's actions after the fight. And yes, it was inappropriate. But again, you know, Bisping hasn't really. It was the first time he's done that. It's not like Bisping continuously does that. I think he needs to be reprimanded, but I don't see any reason to cut or suspend him for any way. And again, you know, there's a gray line between who should reprimand him. And it's not necessarily Dana White in the UFC. It's the athletic commissioner of the particular state or province or area that they were in, and for them to take the responsibility to discipline the fighter. His actions were inappropriate, but again, you know, emotions run wild. There was a lot of build-up for that fight, and I think it just backfired in George's face, and it unfortunately resulted in his loss.
You used to work with the Lauzon brothers also, right?
All friends, all from the same area. We interact with different fighters and often trade here and there some training secrets. And it's a Boston area, and the mixed martial arts community is a very tight community. It's a very small community in the Boston area. We've all known each other for a long time, and first and foremost, it's all about the benefit of the sport. You know, we're truly advocates of the sport. We want to see each other do well. We want to see the sport go well. So any camp in Boston, everybody's tight. Yeah, Boston on the surface of things, you know, we're pretty rough around the edges. You know, we got loud mouths and funny accents, but at the end of the day, we're good, hard-working practitioners of the sport, and we'd like to keep it tight. You know, we're all on the same team when it comes to promoting the sport of mixed martial arts.
So as people all from Massachusetts, I just really wanted to ask you, if you know anything about any insight about Joe and Dan. They always seem to be kind of going in and out of friendships since they are brothers, of course. So they seem to be having problems all the time. Do you have any idea why it's constantly happening?
It's funny, you know, it's always been like that, and I think it's probably because they're so close in age, and you know, they grew up together in the fight game, and they're probably really competitive brothers, you know, as it is. So you take brothers that are close in age, you know, already, you know, competitive with each other, add the element of the fight game into it, and then, you know, obviously it's a recipe for disaster. But they're both pretty feisty kids, both pretty hot-blooded. They show their aggression, they show that in their fights, and unfortunately sometimes that spills outside of the octagon and into their home life. But they're always brothers. They're always going to love each other. And as much as they don't get along behind scenes and when push comes to shove, they still got each other's back, and they still get along pretty well.
All right, now last question, because I'm sitting here schwitzing underneath these really hot lights here. I'm a fat nerd. I'm not supposed to sweat in here. So yeah, so you mentioned before that you're going to be training a lot less fighters these days. You got a lot of other projects happening on the side. You mentioned the Kevin James movie. So tell us a little about that movie and what else you have going on the side these days.
You know, we've got a lot of projects. We're actively involved, me and Sean Shirk, with Dana White and Zuffa, and working with the Olympics right now, and working with MMA and some of the athletes, and bringing mixed martial arts and some of the training methods that we have to the Olympic athletes of our country. And we also have other projects going on with, you know, of course, the video games, and now this movie with Kevin James. So I'm excited to get involved in different facets of the fight game. You know, it's been a long time that I've been in the gym, and I've been getting punched around and lumped up, and you know, after a while, you know, I look for something different. I look for something that reinvigorates me and refreshes me, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm exploring different venues and different avenues of the fight game, and it's been very exciting.
Well, sounds like it's a lot of fun stuff happening in the future of Mark Dellagrotte. And with that, we're going to get out of here because, man, it's hot in this place. Is it hot or just me?
It's hot. No, it's me too.
Yes, okay, yeah. So we'll bow out. Mark, thanks for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for all your support. I couldn't do it without you guys. I appreciate it. Cup Kun Cup. Thank you.
What he said.